You're listening to The Kelly Slusher Show with your host, Kelly Slusher. Hello, everybody. Thanks for joining me again for my fun podcast. But I just recorded this same podcast or this episode, and I edited it. I spent hours editing it. It takes a long time. And then I went to I saved it, went to the store, came back, and the audio was like slowed down, and it sounded like I was talking like this. And I was trying to there was no reason for this to happen. I didn't mess with anything. So then I finally called someone that knew about audio, he knew about Logic, and he guided me how to fix it, and it worked. I was like, yay, because I'm kind of busy. I have like an open mic I'm doing tonight. And by the time you get this, it will have already happened because I record this the previous day before I release it, of course, right? And so I fixed it, and then I'm listening to it, and all of the little editing parts got switched around. So the entire audio, it didn't make sense. It was like if someone sabotaged me. Get behind me, Satan. I don't think so. So I'm doing it again, and it was a good one too. And so I just get really frustrated because I'm like, I guess maybe I just have to mix it down like immediately, so I never have this. I think it's just glitchy computers. Anyway, so what did I say? I'm going to have to just repeat, Sometimes it's like it loses that thing if you have to repeat it. So I'm going to start here. I'm just going to remember everything that I said. So thanks for joining me. Hurrah, hurrah, hurrah. I'm so excited about tonight. I'm so excited about this, doing this open mic. And so last week was my birthday, last Thursday, and I took the day off, but I had to go in. So the open mic is held at this place where I currently am employed, but I only have a week left. So it's kind of like my last hurrah, although I probably will still be doing open mics for these guys because they want it. People are excited. People keep asking me. It's a great location for it. So we'll see what happens, but it's in my head that I'm going to keep doing it. Hopefully there, if not somewhere close to that area in this little town. Anyway, so on Thursday I had to go in and I had to do a reel, and it was my birthday, and I was like, okay, I'm going to go in there. I'll do a reel. Even though I'd rather sleep in right now, I had to go in earlier because that's when we have a social media guy who comes in and does our social media reels. He comes in on Thursdays. So I went in there and they were like, okay, this is the idea. So I did this little sketch, and then I said, and in the reel I said, I will be hosting open mic Tuesday, April 14th from 6 to 9 p.m. And there's going to be music, comedy, poetry. I tried to say that. I did say it right this time. But I kept saying there'll be music, commentary, and then I'd have to stop. And they're like, and I was like, I don't know why I just said that. Why did I just say, I just made a word up, commentary. So then again, I did the whole, we had to do we record the first part, we have to redo that. But then the second part where I'm like talking about my open mic, and then I'd be like, music, commentary, dang it. Did it again. Film the third time, music, commentary. And I'm like, I don't know why I keep saying commentary. And they're just like the baristas and the social media guys, they're just laughing because I just can't believe it. I'm like, I'm sorry, I don't know why commentary keeps coming out of my mouth because I'm trying to say poetry and comedy, but it's too, I don't know. I just kept saying it. So then finally I was like, music, comedy, poetry. And then I finally get it right. And then the guy who's filming me, he just starts laughing and he's shaking. He's like, oh my gosh, I got to. I'm like, no, I did it right. And he's like, oh, just because it was so ridiculous. So then he had to get a tripod so he wouldn't be shaking and laughing at this ridiculousness. I wish we had outtakes. We need outtakes because there's too many funny things when we try to film stuff, because we also have to wait till there's not a line of customers. So it's kind of really hard because you'll be like, okay, let's do this. And then we'll want to do it. And then there'll be more customers oh my gosh. Okay, help the customers. Okay, now let's do it. So it was really funny, but it turned out really good. And I got the point across. But cometry, that's a new word. I really like that word. So I'm thinking it's comedy poetry. So make up some poetry that's quite funny. I think I could do that. So, okay, here's the story. So at that same business, there's these 9-minute eggs that they have that people order. And it's just right there. They hand it to them. There's a 9-minute egg. Well, they had run out. And we had run out of eggs. And I guess there was only 3 actual, not 9-minute eggs, but raw eggs that were in the walk-in on the baker's shelf. And all the bakers had gone home. And usually we label them 9-minute eggs because we have to make their eggs. And it wasn't labeled. So the front of house, they come in the back and they see the 3 eggs and they think this must be the 9-minute eggs. We didn't label it that, but they made assumptions. So then they put them out. And a customer ordered a 9-minute egg. They gave them an egg. It was raw. They go to the table and they just like crack it open and just like, wasn't a 9-minute egg. And I said, I heard about that. And I asked, were they upset? And they're like, no, they laughed at it. No, they're just laughing. And I'm like, oh, that's great. I'm glad they thought that was funny because some people would have perhaps been a little upset. Or if it got, splattered on their laptop. I don't know. You never know. But that's kind of funny. So the other day, for my open mic, so I have this dress. I bought it last year and it's so cute, but I'm a little busty. So in the bust area, it didn't fit. And I was like, darn it, but it fit everywhere else. And I was like, darn it. It's been sitting in my closet. I've been wanting to wear it. And so for my open mic, I thought, I'm going to wear that really cute dress that I never wore last year. I'm going to go get it tailored and have them somehow fix the front, the booby part. So I go to put it on and realized, just to kind of, see where and then I was like, this doesn't fit me hardly at all. So like it got a little tight. And so I was like, dang it, I got a little puffy. I ate too many cookies. I gained a little weight. So now I'm on this like diet cleanse, eating like salads and just light. And it feels really nice. It feels good to do that, especially after like the winter months of wanting to but I'm around a lot of sweets. The place that I work, well, it won't be working for long, but where I have been, they always have this like plate. It's in the back and it's full of like all the duds or like the cookies that are the muffins that didn't look right to serve, but there'll be like a plate of them and everyone just walks by and munches on them. Oh, it's too easy to do that. So I was like, nope, because I'm very disciplined. When I get that in my head, I'm like seriously disciplined person. I'll be like, no. So I bought some meat sticks and I bought a little protein bar. And so if I eat enough protein, I don't crave sugar and I don't be like, I want that. So I won't be hungry. So I, for breakfast on Sunday, I was like, I'm hungry. So I pulled out the meat sticks and I was like, meat stick breakfast. And I decided I was going to title this podcast Meat Stick Breakfast because I thought that was really funny. Meat sticks. Yum. Yeah. So I've been trying. So in the past, when I was recording this podcast, this is my 82nd episode. And in the past, I really would just kind of like randomly think of things. But what I try to do now is to incorporate something within the podcast that I'm talking about into the title. It doesn't always happen, but if I can, it feels a little bit more relative, like relatable, like you can see the title. And then I talk about it. So I do try, or I like play with words within the podcast. So I've gotten a lot better at that. Especially after you've done this many times, and I'm always like in this crunch time. But my schedule is going to change and I'm going to have more energy. Although I'm still going to be busy doing my work, I'm still going to have more time to do this podcast. So I was thinking, what if you sold something on Craigslist? You're selling something on Craigslist and that is so dumb, or a marketplace, or marketplace to say you're going to sell like, your bed or something, a mattress. And then, okay, that's a bad idea. Okay, let's say you're going to sell, I don't know, some piece of furniture. Let's say that it's, you're going to sell some, okay, actually I do have some chef shoes. Well, they're Crocs, but they're for like the kitchen. And I am going to sell them because I've never worn them. And I just got to get rid of them, but they're worth more than, they're like $50, $60 shoes. So I'm like, I'm going to try to sell these because why not, right? I'm not just going to give them to Goodwill. I put money into these. Let's sell it. I love stuff like that. I love selling to people. But what if I was like, oh, I'm going to charge $45.99. Like you add the 99 cents to everything that you do, but it's like Craigslist. I think that'd be so silly. No one's ever done that. I should do it. And then you go to sell it to the person and you're like, okay. And then you give them a penny change. Like, okay, it's $45.99. Here's 46. Here's your penny. I wonder what people would do. They're like, I don't need my penny. Pennies are now being taken out of circulation. I was at this little local grocery and they had a little sign that said, no more pennies. And the interesting thing about that is with no more pennies, it's going to be either you're going to round up or you're going to round down. So let's say it's 43. So it's like that thing, like the higher, if it's at 43, you're going to round up. If it's at 42, you'll probably round down. I'm thinking somewhere like 3 might be but I don't care about that. But some people might care about that. Like some people get upset over these little teeny things like that. Like it won't bother me, but I just know there's going to be somebody. So I think pennies will eventually be worth something, especially if they're copper. I think it's from like 1985. Don't quote me on this. I think it's like 80 something, like mid 80s. Maybe it's 82 and below were made out of actual copper. And so they have this value, not just for the copper, but they'll have a value that who knows. So I went through I had a bunch of pennies and I was kind of like having one of those days off where I was like, I want to just do something that's nothing, I want to do something that's nothing because I don't actually never do nothing, but something that's kind of irrelevant, that's not having to get the podcast out, go to work, do this thing, bake those cookies, blah, blah. Let's do something that's nothing. So to me, something that was nothing was fun to go through, sit outside on my table and just dump pennies out and just look at the dates. And that was just kind of doing nothing. But I got this stack of 10. I'm like, these are going to be worth something someday. And I divided them, and now I have this little thing. And then I found all these other pennies. But I do think pennies are going to be it's going to be the obsolete thing, So in the future, you're like, look, I got a penny. What is that? The kids that are being born now, they're like, what is that? And you're like, it's a penny. We used to actually have them. Isn't that crazy? So the other day, I was working and I got a project, and I was assigned this project to make a lemon meringue cake. So that was, using a vanilla cake and then filling it in the middle, the two halves. You put it's a whole technique, and you stick the meringue. I'm sorry, you put the lemon curd inside of the cake, and then you pipe it. And anyway, so I piped it with this Swiss meringue, which is one of my favorite things in the world because it's basically marshmallow fluff. And then I made it look really cool. And then I got to use a blowtorch, and then I blowtorched it. So it was beautiful. It was like blowtorching a marshmallow, but it was a creamy, marshmallow fluff. It's like that. It's imagining, that. And so I blowtorched the entire cake. I had made 2, and then I sprinkled these beautiful flowers on top. It was so pretty. And now the idea of blowtorching marshmallow fluff, it felt really amazing. And I was like, I could really get used to this. I love this. I want to do more of this. And I'm imagining ooh, I could do a marshmallow fluff. What if I did a chocolate cupcake with marshmallow fluff toasted with the blowtorch? Or a cake doing this with chocolate and with the marshmallow fluff and then with a little bit of fudge in the middle. Oh my goodness. I get ideas. When I'm laying in bed, I get ideas for baking. I'll get oh, what about that? Ooh, and then this idea. And then I do remember it because it's kind of I love what I'm doing. I get just really good ideas. I'm a flavor person, good with flavors. I'm good with combining flavors. I'm good with taking flavors that don't necessarily you're not going to really see very commonly together, but they're more common flavors. So I don't like to go far out, but that's one of my things is my flavors and my textures and stuff. My textures. No, it's all about the textures. If it's bad, you don't want it, my mom used to make Jell-O with apple chunks and she wouldn't take the skins off of the apples. And so she just throw it in a cut up apple in Jell-O with the texture of the slimy Jell-O thing, and then you'd bite into the apple with the skins on them. No, it was just the thought of that. And my mom's an excellent baker, but that was like, she always had to have a dessert. So sometimes she'd get lazy and just do that, and it was gross. So the other day I was watching this reel. My mom sends me reels that are ridiculous. And then she'll send them like the same one multiple times. I don't know how she does this, but she's so intimidated by technology that she gets panicky. And so she'll send something like one time she sent one reel 4 times, and I did a screenshot and I texted her and I was like, look what are you doing? And not in a mean way, but she also will laugh at herself. So it's not like I'm being mean to her, but for the most part, she will laugh if you're like, what's this? She's like, oh, I don't know. But so she sent me this reel, and it was this little boy, like little kids graduating from kindergarten. And then as they walked up, they were like, what do you want to be when you grow up? And the highlights were this kid, they're like, what do you want to be when you grow up? He's like, I want to be a gas station worker. And the other one was, what do you want to be when you grow up? I want to be a bartender in a Mexican restaurant. I was like, that's so specific. So all I could imagine, he probably was like at the Mexican restaurant with his parents, and there was this cool bartender guy like shaking behind the counter, shaking the margaritas and being like fun. And he's like, that's what I want to be. Maybe that's his life purpose. You never know. But anyway, so I'm sad that my favorite roller rink closed down. It was my favorite. It was totally outdated. I think it was from like the 70s, and I don't think they did any they didn't renovate it, but it was cool. I would go on Tuesdays. I'd go roller skate the adult skate. I'd put on my headphones and I would just like skate around, and it was so much fun and I loved it. But I haven't gone for probably 6 months for various reasons. I just wasn't going there, thinking in my head it's just going to be there. Never make assumptions, right? Never think something's always going to be there. Like, oh, it'll be there. No, not always. So someone just told me it closed down, and I was like, no, that's like one of my happy places. It's a place I like to go, just get out of town, go roller skate, put my headphones on, and then I just love to do that there. And it was like medieval themed, and like but you could tell it was kind of dying. It was kind of dying. It didn't have that like vibrant, like this is really thriving. And it's also in this big parking lot, huge parking lot area with this mall that has like, it's the weirdest mall. Like, can't believe it's still there. To me, it's a gem because you can go in there, walk around, and be like, every store is closed except for like the stores that are still there. They've always like JCPenney's and like Macy's, and they're always going to do well wherever they're at. And they're probably the only thing holding this whole mall up. And I don't know. I'm nostalgic. So anyway, it closed, and I was like, no, but it says on their website they're going to reopen it. They sold it to somebody else. So hopefully it'll still be good, but I don't know. I don't think so. So there was that feeling of kind of like my heart was like kind of sunk when I heard that they closed it. I was like, no, there are other roller rinks in that area, but there was something about that one. I liked that one. So I think, this may not be as long as the other ones, just since that thing happened where my audio just got wacky, totally wacky. I put so much into these, and so when that happens, it's like, what? So I hope this one's as good as the one that just, I don't know. It was really, that has happened to me in the past. I don't know what happens. It's a glitch because I didn't do anything different. I just went to the store and came back, and it was wrong. It was messed up. So I'm going to play you on the end. I'm going to play some Crash and Brittany. This is my very first band from Sacramento, and I haven't put anything like this on the end. I haven't played Crash and Brittany at all. I'm getting ready to release Crash and Brittany on online streaming. We do have a bunch of these. We recorded I think it was like 5 songs, but 4 of them, I believe it's 5 songs. At least 3 of them are on a 7-inch. And then we have a full-length album out, and it's called Kids Love You, and it's a full-length album. And I don't know, I think I have a copy of it. I do need to get copies of that, and I completely forgot about that album. until right now, because someone was asking me about how many songs I record. I'm like, oh, wait, there's a full album. But that was a sad thing, because Monopoly Records had put out, it was this little indie label from San Diego, had put out our first album. And then the guy who put out the album, and it was his baby, he kind of shared it with his brother, but he was the main guy. He ended up getting killed. He got hit by a car. It was really tragic. So Crash and Brittany had a lot of really kind of strange things like that. Well, there was some darkness, I would say, that I don't miss. That was really sad. And we ended up putting a song out. There was a memorial album that they made, and we had a song on there. And I think it was the Little Baby Ones. So we've got a music that's out on vinyl, but now it's to the point where it's more obscure. I do have a bunch of vinyls of Crash and Brittany in storage. I got to find them. So this song I'm going to play is on the 7-inch, and it's never been released through streaming services. So I'm going to be doing that. But before I'm going to do this and let you guys hear this song here, because I won't be able to, if it's online streaming, I can't necessarily put it on here because the robots are like, wait, that's copyrighted. And I'm like, even though it's me, it's fine. It's to protect me, but I definitely want this out in the world. So it's me. I play bass and I sang and I wrote the parts, and then the drummer would help arrange the parts, and then our guitar player would add his guitar to what we were doing. It was just really interesting how we just all had in that very moment, we just all came together and just made this band. And it was very, it was an explosive type of band, and it was really fun, but really hard. And there's all the stuff. So, this song is called It Is Chemistry. It's the first song on the 7-inch. And I've never played anything, like I said, like usually I play like really sweet songs, ukulele songs, or I'll play some electronic song, or I'll play some solo song. But this is a much heavier band, but it has elements of beauty, I would say, because my voice, you can hear my voice, the sweetness in my voice comes through, but the music is really heavy. But okay, so here's some Crash and Brittany. Thanks for listening, and I will talk to you guys next week. All right, goodbye.